There comes a point in life, usually around 40, when a woman looks in the mirror and realizes that time doesn't lie. The youth she once used to control the world with is gone. The attention, the validation, the compliments that once poured in like rain, they've dried up. And for the first time, she faces the silence she's been running from her entire life. That silence is terrifying because now she's forced to meet the one person she's never really known, herself. See, most women spend their younger years chasing admiration instead of purpose. They mistake being desired for being valued, and when that attention fades, their world collapses. They start questioning everything, their marriage, their choices, their worth. That's when the chaos begins. They tear apart homes, chase illusions, and destroy stability just to feel alive again. But what they're really chasing isn't love, it's the ghost of who they used to be. This isn't hate, this is truth, and truth hurts. But maybe, if faced with honesty, it can heal what's left before everything falls apart. There comes a point in life, usually around 40, when a woman looks in the mirror and realizes that time doesn't lie. The youth she once used to control the world with is gone. The attention, the validation, the compliments that once poured in like rain, they've dried up. And for the first time, she faces the silence she's been running from her entire life. That silence is terrifying because now she's forced to meet the one person she's never really known, herself. Most women spend their younger years chasing admiration instead of purpose. They mistake being desired for being valued. And when that attention fades, their world collapses. They start questioning everything, their marriage, their choices, their worth. That's when the chaos begins. They tear apart homes, chase illusions, and destroy stability just to feel alive again. But what they're really chasing isn't love. It's the ghost of who they used to be. The mirror never lies. There comes a stage in life when the mirror stops showing what we want to see and starts showing what we've become. For many women, especially after 40, that reflection is no longer a symbol of beauty and youth, but a reminder of passing time, a reality that the world rarely prepares them for. The wrinkles, the fading glow, the subtle marks of years lived. They aren't just changes in appearance, they're truths that cut deep. Society has taught women to measure worth through beauty, to equate value with desirability, and to confuse being admired with being loved. So when the reflection changes, their identity begins to crumble. That's not vanity, it's fear. Fear of becoming invisible in a world that once celebrated their youth. The mirror becomes a silent judge, a reminder that time is moving forward, but the admiration that once defined them is moving backward. This confrontation with the truth, the one no filter can hide, is where quiet madness begins, not because they hate what they see, but because they don't recognize it anymore. The mirror never lies because it reflects more than skin. It exposes the story behind it. Every line, every mark, every trace of age carries the weight of choices, sacrifices, and dreams either fulfilled or forgotten. A woman who once lived for others, children, husband, work, now sees herself and realizes she no longer knows who she is outside those roles. When youth fades, the distractions fade too, leaving behind an unfiltered reality. It's no coincidence that many midlife crises begin not in the world, but in the reflection. It's the sudden recognition that years have gone by while their own dreams were placed on pause. The world that once revolved around them now spins without their permission. And in that silence, many start to panic, not because life is ending, but because they fear it's too late to begin again. The mirror becomes both a confession booth and a battlefield, a place where truth cannot be escaped. Take Socrates, for example, a philosopher who believed that self-examination was the highest form of wisdom. He famously said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." In his time, this wasn't about beauty or vanity, but about the courage to face oneself honestly. Socrates didn't have a mirror like we do, but he spent his life holding one up to the minds and souls of others. He forced people to confront the lies they told themselves about who they were. That's exactly what the mirror does for women over 40. It challenges them to stop pretending, to stop clinging to illusions of youth and perfection, and to start understanding their worth beyond appearance. The tragedy isn't in aging, it's in resisting it. Socrates faced his own mortality with acceptance and clarity, while many today face aging with fear and denial. Yet true strength lies in acceptance, the kind of acceptance that transforms reflection into wisdom. But acceptance doesn't come easily. Most women have been conditioned since girlhood to find their value in being seen. Compliments became currency. Attention became validation. The entire identity was built around the reaction of others. When that reaction fades, the foundation cracks. The mirror starts to feel like an enemy, but it's not the mirror. It's the truth behind it. It reveals what happens when a life has been built more on perception than purpose, and that's why it hurts. It's not about losing youth. It's about realizing how much of life was wasted trying to preserve it. The illusion dies, and in its place, reality breathes. But few are ready to meet it. So they rebel against time, not with acceptance, but with desperation. Desperation wears many faces. Some chase validation through attention they once received easily. Others trade stability for the fleeting thrill of being desired again, confusing lust with love and drama with meaning. It's not evil, it's emptiness searching for purpose. The mirror exposes this internal void mercilessly, and instead of healing it, many try to hide it behind makeup, new clothes, or distractions that only delay the inevitable reckoning. The mirror keeps reflecting truth. It whispers, "You can't hide forever." This truth isn't cruelty, it's liberation. Because only when you stop running from your reflection can you start rebuilding from within. The mirror doesn't punish, it reveals the part of you that's been ignored while chasing everything else. The irony is that the same mirror that once fueled insecurity can become a tool for empowerment. Once the illusions fade, what remains is authenticity. Something stronger, deeper, and far more beautiful than youth. Look at women who have embraced this truth. Those who have stopped comparing, stopped competing, and started living. Think of Eleanor Roosevelt, who was never considered conventionally beautiful, yet she radiated a power that no mirror could measure. Her influence, wisdom, and strength made her unforgettable long after her reflection changed. That's what happens when a woman stops fighting her reflection and starts building her identity beyond it. When she accepts her age, her story, her scars, she doesn't lose power, she multiplies it. The mirror becomes not a reminder of what's lost, but a testament to what's survived. Eventually, the mirror becomes a teacher. Silent, unyielding, and brutally honest. It reflects both pain and growth. It doesn't care about filters or approval. It shows what's real. And that's the point, to look, to see, and to understand. Aging isn't the enemy. Time isn't cruel. The cruelty lies in pretending that youth was the only chapter worth reading. The mirror's truth is that life has depth and beauty has layers. Those who dare to face that reflection without fear are the ones who evolve. The mirror never lies. It tells you the story you've written so far. And if you're brave enough to look closely, you might find that the story isn't ending, it's just finally becoming real. Attention isn't love. From the moment we open our eyes to the world, we're trained to crave attention, to seek it, to chase it, to depend on it. And for many women, that craving becomes the foundation of self-worth. Compliments become confirmation of existence. Validation becomes oxygen. But attention and love are not the same thing. They never were. Attention is fleeting, shallow, and conditional. Love is patient, deep, and enduring. Yet somewhere along the line, the two got confused. When a woman is young, attention feels like power. It feeds the ego, fuels the spirit, and gives the illusion of control. But as the years pass and that attention begins to fade, the illusion shatters. What once felt like admiration now feels like absence. The silence becomes deafening. And suddenly, she realizes that most of what she thought was love was never love at all. It was just noise. The heartbreaking truth is that attention disappears when novelty fades, but love grows stronger with time. And when the noise stops, that's when you discover who truly saw you, not for your beauty, but for your being. The most painful part of this realization is understanding how long one has lived mistaking applause for affection. A woman who once had a room full of admirers may find herself surrounded by none when life gets quiet. The truth is, attention doesn't last because it's built on desire, not devotion. It thrives on what's new, not what's real. Society has made people believe that being desired equals being loved. But they couldn't be more wrong. Love is consistent even when the spotlight fades. Attention vanishes the moment the next distraction appears. That's why so many hearts are broken, because people build relationships on temporary attraction instead of timeless connection. Attention satisfies the ego, but love nourishes the soul. One feeds you for a moment, the other sustains you for a lifetime. But until someone experiences both, they can't tell the difference. Attention also breeds insecurity. It tricks the mind into dependence. You start measuring your value through the eyes of others, constantly needing to be seen to feel significant. And when those eyes look away, the void opens wide. That's when desperation sets in. Not because you're unloved, but because you never learned to love yourself without the approval of others. True love starts internally. It's quiet, stable, and unwavering. Attention, on the other hand, comes from the outside, loud, unpredictable, and short-lived. The problem is, the world celebrates attention and ignores love. Social media thrives on this lie. It rewards visibility, not vulnerability. It makes people chase hearts on screens instead of finding peace in their own. The tragedy is that many only realize this too late, after losing real love while chasing fake admiration. Attention may make you feel alive, but only love makes you whole. There's a story of a woman named Clara who spent her youth surrounded by admirers. Everywhere she went, heads turned. She believed she was loved because people adored her, until time began to change her reflection. Slowly, the compliments faded, the calls stopped, and the attention she once took for granted disappeared. She fell into despair, convinced she had lost love. But then, in her darkest years, she met an old friend she had known for decades, someone who never cared about her beauty, only her heart. He listened to her stories, held her hand when she cried, and reminded her of her worth. Years later, when she fell ill, he stayed by her side until her last breath. One day she told him, with tears in her eyes, "I used to think I was loved because they looked at me. Now I know I was only loved because you saw me." And so that is the difference. Attention looks, love sees. Attention doesn't heal you, it hides you. It's like sunlight on ice, warm for a moment but destined to melt away. Love, on the other hand, is the fire that stays even when the night gets cold. When a woman bases her value on attention, she will always be one rejection away from collapse. But when she builds it on love, real love, she becomes unshakable. Because love doesn't vanish when beauty fades. It grows stronger in the presence of truth. The world teaches people to chase excitement instead of depth. And that's why so many relationships crumble when life stops being thrilling. But love isn't meant to be constant excitement, it's meant to be constant commitment. Attention makes promises it can't keep, but love keeps promises it never has to make. The ones who understand this truth stop chasing validation and start protecting their peace. And here's the harsh irony. Many people lose love while chasing attention, only to realize too late what they've done. They trade the steady warmth of loyalty for the temporary spark of admiration. They believe they're gaining freedom when in fact they're walking straight into emptiness. Real love doesn't always shine the brightest, but it never burns out. Attention, though dazzling, always fades, and when it does, it leaves a shadow of regret behind. The greatest mistake one can make is confusing emotional excitement with emotional security. The first thrills you, the second saves you. The moment someone understands that difference, their entire perspective on relationships changes. They stop chasing looks and start seeking loyalty. They stop asking who desires me and start wondering who stands with me when the world stops watching. That's where real peace begins. If there's one truth that can save hearts from breaking, it's this: attention isn't love, and love doesn't need attention to exist. The people who truly love you aren't the ones clapping when you shine, they're the ones holding you when you fall. Attention lives in the moment, love lives in the soul. When you stop craving the noise of others and start embracing the silence within, you begin to understand your worth. You realize that love isn't something you earn through charm or beauty. It's something you cultivate through truth, patience, and presence. The difference is simple. Attention gives you moments, love gives you meaning, and once you experience meaning, you'll never chase moments again. Heal before you break. There comes a moment in life when the pain becomes too heavy to carry, yet too familiar to let go. Most people walk around wounded, not bleeding on the outside, but quietly breaking inside. They call it strength, they call it endurance, but it's really survival on borrowed time. A broken heart, a betrayed trust, a lifetime of silence. These things don't just disappear. They sink deeper until one day they erupt. Healing isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Because if you don't heal what hurt you, you'll bleed on those who never cut you. Too many people try to move on without mending what's inside, thinking time will do the work. But time doesn't heal, awareness does. And awareness only begins when you stop running from your own reflection. Pain doesn't vanish by ignoring it, it transforms when you face it. The truth is, the soul breaks not from what happens to it, but from what it refuses to acknowledge. Healing is the only rebellion left in a world that teaches people to pretend they're fine. The most dangerous wounds are the ones that look invisible, the emotional fractures that never got treated. When you keep suppressing pain, it doesn't disappear, it mutates. It turns into anger, into bitterness, into self-destruction. People wonder why relationships fail, why they sabotage peace, why they can't stay still. It's because they're trying to love while still bleeding. Healing is the discipline of honesty. It means admitting you're not okay. And that's where the power begins. Pretending to be unbreakable doesn't make you strong. It just makes your collapse inevitable. What we resist persists. The longer you deny your wounds, the louder they scream for attention. You can't build a new chapter on the ashes of unhealed pain. You have to clean the wound before it turns into poison. Healing is not forgetting, it's forgiving what you can't change and learning how to grow from what almost destroyed you. A wise man once said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." And that truth cuts deep. The purpose of pain isn't to punish, it's to awaken. Every scar has something to teach, but only if you're willing to listen. Most people want the relief of healing without the responsibility of facing their hurt. But true healing is uncomfortable. It forces you to look at your patterns, your choices, and the role you played in your own suffering. It demands that you stop blaming others and start rebuilding yourself. There's no shortcut, no distraction, no substance, no temporary thrill can fix what only courage can face. Healing isn't about becoming who you were before, it's about becoming someone stronger, wiser, more peaceful after. When you choose to heal before you break, you stop reacting to pain and start transforming through it. The hardest truth is that healing isn't linear. You'll have days where the old wounds reopen, when you question your strength and wonder if the effort is worth it. But healing is progress, not perfection. You don't wake up one morning suddenly whole. You grow into wholeness, piece by piece, through patience and honesty. Out of suffering have emerged the strongest souls. The most massive characters are seared with scars. Every breakdown you survive becomes proof that you're capable of rebirth. Healing teaches you how to turn pain into wisdom instead of resentment. It reminds you that your scars are not signs of weakness, but of endurance. The pain you face consciously is the pain that frees you. Because every time you choose to confront what hurts instead of burying it, you reclaim a piece of yourself that was lost to fear. People often mistake healing for forgetting. They believe that to move forward, they must erase the past. But healing isn't about erasing, it's about understanding. It's learning to look back without bitterness, to remember without reliving. You don't need to forget what broke you. You need to understand why it broke you and how to stop it from breaking you again. Healing is the bridge between pain and peace. It doesn't mean the storm never happened. It means you've learned to dance in the rain. The strongest hearts are not the ones that never hurt, but the ones that have been shattered and still choose to love again. You can't heal by pretending you were never broken. You heal by embracing every fracture and choosing to rise anyway. The truth is, most people wait until they completely fall apart to start healing. They wait until the damage is too deep, until they've hurt themselves or others beyond repair. But real strength lies in recognizing the cracks early, in choosing to mend before you shatter. Healing before breaking means taking responsibility for your emotions, your triggers, your wounds. It means asking yourself hard questions before they become impossible ones. It's about seeking peace, not when life forces you to, but when your soul asks you to. He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. Because self-control begins with self-healing. When you master your pain, you stop being ruled by it. Healing isn't selfish, it's sacred. It's how you stop repeating the same pain in new places. Eventually, healing becomes more than recovery, it becomes transformation. You start to see pain differently, not as something that happened to you, but something that happened for you. It shaped you, refined you, humbled you. Healing turns chaos into clarity. When you finally decide to heal before you break, you give yourself permission to grow. You no longer depend on others to fix what only you can repair. You stop looking for closure from the world and start creating peace within yourself. That's when true freedom begins, when the past no longer defines your future. Because healing isn't about getting back what was lost. It's about discovering what was always within you, waiting for you to come home. Life will always test you, with time, with loss, with silence, and with truth. Every stage of existence reveals a different version of yourself, and each reflection demands honesty. The mirror will show you not just what has changed on the outside, but what has been ignored within. It's not the passing of years that breaks a person, it's the denial of what those years are trying to teach. When you learn to face that reflection without fear, you begin to see beyond the surface. You realize that the wrinkles are not signs of loss, but symbols of strength. They represent stories, lessons, and survival. Aging doesn't take your beauty away, it replaces it with depth, wisdom, and grace. Attention, too, will come and go. The applause fades, the lights dim, and the crowd moves on. But love, real love, remains when everything else is gone. It isn't built on appearance, performance, or perfection. It's built on truth, loyalty, and soul. When you stop confusing attention for love, you stop begging to be noticed and start learning to be understood. Love is quiet but eternal, steady but strong. It's the one thing that time cannot take from you once it's rooted in truth. And above all, before the breaking comes, choose healing. Don't wait for pain to destroy what peace can restore. Every wound carries wisdom. Every scar carries proof that you've endured. Heal before you break, forgive before you fall, and understand before you judge. The most powerful person is the one who has met their pain and turned it into peace. So stand tall, accept your reflection, cherish real love, and guard your healing. Life is not about staying unbroken, it's about becoming whole again and again. Thank you for listening. May peace guide your heart, and may God bless you always.